Hello, I'm Ian Truscott. You may know me as the host of the Rockstar CMO Effing Marketing Podcast, but I'm here to share that we're kicking off the inaugural MPN Podcast Awards, which will be hosted by Gordon Glenister, podcaster, author, and the Don of influencer marketing. What say you, Gordon?
The Marketing Podcast Network is a community of marketers who podcast. And we thought it was high time to recognise the podcasts that we love, marketing podcasts. But these awards aren't just about the shows on our network. The MPN Awards are open to all marketing podcasts. And this is our chance to shine a light on the voices right across the entire marketing podcast community. So don't delay. Enter the MPN Awards.
You heard Gordon. Let us know your favourite marketing podcast and enter at mpn-awards.com or follow the Marketing Podcast Network on LinkedIn for all of our updates.
You enjoy podcasts. We know because you're listening to one. Hi, I'm Jason Falls, the executive producer of the Marketing Podcast Network. We love podcasts too, so much so that in addition to providing you with the great episode you're listening to, we also help businesses, brands, and even individuals produce their podcasts. MPN Studios offers podcast consulting and production services to help you get you or your business its very own podcast. We've helped dozens of smart people, advertising agencies, and brands develop podcasts. All you do is record your content or interview. We take that and deliver a professionally produced audio or video episode complete with show notes, transcriptions, and even promotional clips to use on social media. And our monthly subscription prices are hard to beat. If you or your company are jonesing to have your own podcast to establish thought leadership, drive business leads, or just have fun talking about your business or topic of choice, we'd love to help. Learn more at marketingpodcasts.net/studio. That's marketingpodcasts.net/studio.
Welcome to Your Radiant Spirit, a space for the conversations and colors that help you see yourself more clearly. I'm Heather Eck, an intuitive artist and guide, and I believe your soul speaks in the ways the mind can't always put into words, through color, energy, and the stories your body holds. This show is where we explore those messages. Through personal stories, deep conversations, and creative insight, we'll uncover what's been hidden, release what no longer serves, and begin to imagine what's possible when you live in full alignment with who you're meant to be. What you hear here is more than inspiration, it's an opening, a chance to feel the shift that could change everything. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's step into today's conversation. Grateful that you're here with me today. Today's episode is one that I think will meet a lot of you exactly where you are. But before we begin, I want to share something with you about spirit portraits. If you've been around for a while, you know that painting is the deepest language that I know, and a spirit portrait is a personalized, intuitive painting of your soul's color. It's a visual message of love, healing, and peace channeled specifically for you. If you've been feeling the pull towards something more personal and you want to understand what's going on beneath the surface, I'd love to explore that with you. You can find all the details over at heathereck.com. Now on to today's guest. You're going to love her. LindaJoy Benn is the creator of the BENN Method, Advanced Self-Care for the Soul. She's an author, a healer, and the founder of Linda Benn International. And she has spent 35 years traveling the world, studying every holistic healing modality that you can possibly think of: Palawa healing, somatic work, medical intuition, energy medicine, and so much more. But really what makes her story truly remarkable isn't her decades of training, it's what she survived after all of them. A narcissistic spiritual teacher, a plant medicine ceremony that shattered her soul, a 2-year dark night that brought her to the edge of her own will to live, autoimmune disease, adrenal burnout, the loss of her healing abilities, her liver functioning below 40%, and then a single conversation, a turning point, and a choice. The BENN Method was born from rock bottom, and LindaJoy is here today to share what she discovered about what healing really requires. I am so excited to share this episode with you. Let me know what you think, and I'm so honored that you're here. Enjoy. You have an interesting story. You have healed yourself of disease, and you've created this wonderful framework called the BENN Method to help people take this really holistic approach to their own healing. Can you start by just sharing with us your story, what you went through and how you started this beautiful framework that you offer.
Thank you. Okay. Well, there's many stories. So I will start when I met my spiritual teacher at the age of 21. And most Australians, what we do is we save up money to go backpacking around the world. And so I'd saved up all my money from my job to go on my world adventure. And when I I bought the ticket, and so I had a one-way ticket to London. And prior, it's like, right, I'll just go to the doctor and get a checkup. And I found out I had cancer. And that was like a big turning point. But to be honest, I was escaping Australia because I had suppressed so much emotional pain, of sadness, of hurt, of not understanding why my family treated me the way they did, why they ostracized me. And I was carrying a lot of heavy energy from my childhood trauma. And but I never let this show. It was all internal, because on the outside I was just happy, 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 put on a smiley face. But deep down I was in a lot of pain. But I knew that leaving Australia and escaping, I would find the answers overseas. And that's where I was led. It was synchronistic how I met this teacher, because I was in San Francisco and this lady said to me, this is how the universe works. This lady I met in a restaurant said, I heard that there's a really good psychic in San Jose. Will you come with me? Because she was really skeptical. Now, this is 1990. And so, there was still a lot of skepticism about clairvoyance and, psychic abilities. And I just went, absolutely, let's go. So we both went and had a reading with Dale, and he was on one side of the desk and both of us were on the other. And it was kind of general because he didn't go into too much depth because of, we were just new friends. But afterwards he gave me his card and he said, I don't normally do this, but this is my card with my home phone number on it. Call me. And when I did, that's when the floodgates opened. And that's where, because he knew what was going on for me. And he said, if you keep going down this road, you won't be here. And so that was like a check-in point for me to go, whoa, I can't push it under the carpet anymore, and just go off. I need to deal with this emotional pain that I'm carrying. And so every week I went down, and because I was living in San Francisco at the time, and I'd get the train down to his place and I'd stay overnight and then get the train back. And that was my foundation. That was my university of learning and healing myself, and the incredible wisdom that he shared with me over 6 months was just amazing. And he painted a picture of me in this life and several of my past lives, and I've still got it on my wall today. And so that's the foundation that really set me on my career. He helped me to understand the mind, body, spirit connection, my purpose in this life, and also my family and why I chose them and the roles that they were all playing in my life now. So it gave me a different perspective. And this all this wisdom and knowledge and the healing that he gave me is why I'm here today, to share this with others who especially have, maybe they're going through an illness or disease right now, or they've lost a loved one. But my career, this is the foundation, because that's what really encouraged me to go to college and learn as many different holistic health and healing tools, and many retreats and workshops and seminars. And, like, we're talking 35 years. I have traveled all around the world and just gathered all the best tools. But it was also part of my healing journey, because with anyone who's gone through a lot of trauma, it's not just something you wake up and go, oh, it's a process. It's peeling off the layers. And two of the books that Dale recommended for me to get is Homecoming by Bradshaw and Healing the Child Within. And those two books I've still got on my shelf today. And so that was the foundation of my work. And then when I started my business, it was just seeing constant, like, people with pain in their body. But then, and they would say, this hurts. And, and I was doing the body work and energy work and healing. But then that morphed more into the psychic surgery and the somatic work and more deeper work. And then that's where the coaching came in. So then I, kept getting more certifications to go, right, doing coaching and training and workshop facilitation. And back in 2004, I learned a modality called Palawa healing. And it's an enlightenment modality that shifts consciousness, expands awareness, and connects all 12 strands of DNA. And again, this was channeled through another spiritual teacher that I met after a reading. She had just started teaching this. So it was brand new on the planet. And it was completely different to Reiki, because I'd already done Reiki and I was incorporating that into my work. But when I did the Palawa and got those attunements and then became a trainer, that was like a huge wake up for me, because it just took all the modalities and everything that I'd learned over the years to a whole nother level. And I was able to just tap in. I could not just feel the energy, but it's like I could see where the energy was blocked in someone's body. And then, and that's where the psychic surgery comes in. And so it was more doing medical intuitive work and healing from that perspective. So it was, the hands-on as well as off the body. And then I was traveling and teaching this modality, the Palawa healing, and traveling all around Australia as well as in the US. So from 2005, about twice a year, I was traveling back and forth to the US and doing presentations, all the way from the East Coast across to the West Coast, and teaching workshops, and that was great. But back then in 2004 and 5, it was not many people really understood the impact, because my message was, if you shift consciousness, then the physical body will take care of itself. Stop focusing on what's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you. You're not broken. You don't need fixing. But where people, and this comes back to the language, when people are constantly talking about this is wrong, and I've got this, and I've got all these labels, medical labels. Well, then it's like that becomes part of their identity, but it's not who they are. And so in all my work, and I still do this today, is empower people to take back their power and encourage them to heal their own body, because we all have the capability, we all have the power to heal our own body from anything. And then come back when you're truly energetically in alignment with your true essence of who you are. Well, then in your heart, you feel peace and love and joy. And that's our mission in this life. There's nothing else. It's really about that, is like, come back home to you and truly feel what's important to you right now, what truly matters to you right now. And all this hustle and burnout and just this pushing and driving and it's like, did we really come to just do the hustle?
Right.
If it was a dance, great, go to short time. And why do people just push themselves to burnout? And I was burnt out. So just to backtrack, so in 2010, I actually moved to California, and I just felt that Australia was too small, because I was a big fish in a little pond. So I thought, right, I need a bigger audience to share this message and motivate people. And if you remember back in 2010, 2008 and 9, the GFC hit, and a lot of people are all in fear. So I came to America to, uplift people, motivate them, let them know that everything will be okay. Don't worry, be happy. And they all thought I was crazy, and I was bringing the Aussie philosophy of no worries, mate. Like, she'll be right. Like, just just trust and have faith. We're all being taken care of. Don't get caught up in the minutiae. And they're going, you are from another planet. So, talking about shifting consciousness and expanding awareness, they already thought that, I was from another planet and woo-woo, and, I was disregarded in a lot of ways. And then just when we're seeing people lose their houses, or, in so much financial stress, and I'm going, don't worry, it'll all work out. Yeah, they couldn't quite comprehend or trust that. But I lived in California for 7 years, and I moved around a lot. I lived in about 15 different places in the San Francisco Bay Area, because I felt really drawn to go back there.
Okay.
And it was a spontaneous decision. So I was starting all over again, and I went to lots of different networking events to build relationships, build up credibility and trust and my reputation, and let people know what I do. And so over the time, like, I had a private practice, plus I was working in Silicon Valley for a company as their wellness consultant, and I worked there for 5 years, plus teaching workshops and moving. Like, I was busy, very, very driven, very motivated, very enthusiastic, very driven to make an impact on the planet and uplift people, and encourage them to come back to their joy. That's why I use the Regain Your MoJOY now as my tagline, because it's come back to the joy of who you are, what lights you up, what makes your heart sing. And so and with all the moving, and there was a lot of things that happened in that 7 years. So the company that I worked with for 5 years, stocks were going down, they were laying off people, and I was one of the people to get laid off, well, contracting, because that was a company perk having me in the office. And the company unfortunately no longer exists. But they were my external family. And so that was really devastating. That hurt me. But just prior to that, I took my little dog over with me to start our new life in California, and she passed away at the end of 2014. And she was old. She was 15 and a half. She was a little dachshund,
Oh.
but she was like my baby. She was my daughter that I dragged around everywhere and came to every workshop and hotel seminar, and she came to the corporate office with me. She was like very much part of my life. On a daily basis, and she wasn't your regular dog. So it's devastating. So it's like I lost, my little dog, and then my family with this company, and then I moved because I just felt that in Silicon Valley I was living under a dark cloud. They were all focused on money and ego and power, and here's my work, very much heart-centered. And I am going, what am I doing here? That these people don't really like, they don't, some of them got me, but most of them, it was like they were just on that hamster wheel, the hustle,
The
and
hustle. Yeah.
just go, and you pushing and driving. And I felt I had lost my energy as well. Like I was getting burnt out, because it's like when you're living in that environment, it's like, right, I need to do, this, keep pushing. And it was like, whoa. So I moved back to Northern California, and I reconnected with this lady that I'd met when I very first arrived, and we kept in contact. She befriended me. It was after a networking event, and I didn't realize at the time, and this was another learning for me, um, because yeah, it was an experience I went through. And she said to me, because when she said to me when I moved back to Northern California, oh, you came to America with so much light and your light's now gone out. And I went, wow. Because when she met me in 2010, it was at a networking event. She went, oh, wow, I just stare at you from the other side of the room. Your light is so bright, and I'm just mesmerized by you. And I went, oh, that's nice. But that was a red flag, because I was naive to narcissism. And if somebody love bombs you, that's like a big red flag to run. But and because I was naive, and it's like I just want to see the good in everyone, and and help everyone to be full of love and light and joy, and do good for everyone. And that was the illusion I was um thinking.
Yeah.
But this lady, and I thought she was my friend, but she'd always want to find out what I was doing, and can we catch up for coffee, and where are you? I'm going to this event. Oh, can I come? Okay. Then oh, where are you? Oh, I'm at this party. Oh, can I come? So she kept inviting herself to every event, every party, even a private retreat that I went to, and a Christmas with my friends. She comes. So it was like she was kind of stalking me, but I didn't think anything of it. And so she invited me just before, when I was in transition, because here she's saying, I think, and I paid her thousands of dollars, because she's also disguises as a spiritual teacher.
Oh, boy.
And she says, right, I've got this program, do this program, this will help you. So I was paying her thousands of dollars for programs for her to practice on, and another lesson learnt. And I trusted her, and she said, I think you should go back to Australia. And though in my transition back to Australia, she invited me to a plant medicine ceremony. And in this, and I'd never done plant medicine before. It was her friend was facilitating it. And so and I was in transition, and I was staying in a hotel in San Francisco. She said, I will pick you up from your hotel and drop you back. And I went, okay, this will be fun. And so I went along with her, not knowing that the experience I was going to have would be the most traumatizing experience of my life, for my mind, for my body, for my soul. And because what happened in that experience was, when you do plant medicine, you kind of surrender your soul. I didn't know that she's got a contract or an agreement with the demon that if you collect me enough souls, I will set you free, because she used to be part of a cult. And then she, became spiritual and teaching, all the spirituality. And so in that plant medicine experience, afterwards, I felt cut off. Like my soul was shattered, and I didn't know who I was anymore. And so I came back to Australia, and it was like, wow, normally when I ask questions, it's like, bang, make this choice, this decision, go here, do. And I felt really vague, and my healing abilities, and I just was so scattered. And I didn't realize what had happened, because I thought a plant medicine ceremony was meant to, be some psychedelic, enlightening experience that, opens up you to higher levels, whereas this just shattered my soul. And then when I came back to Australia, I was lost. It was like, well, what do I do if I'm not here to share my gifts with the world? What's the point of being here? And also, all the trauma from my family all came back and impacted. So here I am, vulnerable, fragile, at rock bottom. And then the trauma and all the judgment and criticism and the nastiness from my family just impacted that. And I just spiraled down. And I was mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually at rock bottom. And so over 2 years, well, actually, in that 6 months, I'd lost so much weight that my hip dislocated, because I didn't have enough muscle to hold my joints in place. Then my knee dislocated. And I was diagnosed with autoimmune and chronic fatigue and adrenal burnout and, depression and suicidal thoughts. And, so I was given all these labels, and I lost my will to live. So from there, I was on the couch a lot because I had no energy, and every organ and every system was shutting down, and I was getting my affairs in order to leave, and I was okay to leave. And My liver was functioning at 38%. I'd lost eyesight in my left eye. I wasn't the same person
Oh my
anymore.
gosh. Yeah.
And so I was stick thin. I was not sleeping, and my brain wasn't functioning. It was such a struggle to try and put a sentence together, to put words and make it coherent and make it make sense. And it was like, wow. And so most of the time I was on the couch sleeping, because I had to sleep a lot because I had no energy, and I was just wasting away. And I went and saw my spiritual teacher from 2004, and she just looked at me and went, "What are you doing? You are committing energetic suicide." And I said to her, "Yeah, I know. I'm exhausted." And she said, and this was my turning point, "If you end this contract," oh my God, I'm feeling emotional. "If you end this contract, the next life will be 10 times worse." And I just went, "No,
Oh my goodness.
this life has been just so hard and
Yeah.
traumatic. And I've gone through so many emotional, significant, life-threatening and traumatic experiences." And that was my motivation to heal my body. And so I said, "Okay, Spirit, I take responsibility. I created all of this in my body. What do I need in order to heal my own body?" And that's when the BENN Method came in. That's where it's like I got really clear that balance. I needed to rebalance my life, get my energy back in alignment, start nurturing and then nourishing my physical body, emotional body, my like self-love and self-compassion and self-forgiveness. And that's why the BENN Method is advanced self-care for the soul,
Mm.
because my soul was shattered. And so over the years, I've had to bring all those shattered pieces, like glass, if you've shattered,
Yeah.
it's like pick all those pieces, come back into alignment with my true essence, with my soul's mission, with my soul's purpose on why I'm here, in order to help humanity with this consciousness evolution of awakening that everyone's going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that is my mission. And that's why I created the BENN Method Academy, to teach all the tools that I used on myself and also with clients over the years. And this is my legacy, because I healed my body medication free. The doctors were like so upset. I was seeing, GPs and psychologists and psychiatrists. None of them could help me. I had no idea. And I said, "No, I work holistically. I know." There was still a little glimmer of light where spirit never gave up on me. And I know that I've got a lot of masters that are helping me in this life, on this journey, and that's what's got me through. And this is what I bring in to help others who have been or are going through rock bottom, or going through some kind of huge traumatic experience where they feel like giving up, and turn that around. Because
Wow.
we're all given this gift of life. And so that was a very big answer to your question.
I appreciate hearing your whole
The BENN
story.
Method.
Yes. Well, I think that makes so much sense how divinely inspired the method is, and how this method saved your life, and how you work within it to help other people save theirs. So how does that work? How do you teach somebody to tune into their energy and to see what it is that they need to heal through that energy awareness? How do you do that? If somebody's listening to your story and they say, "Oh my gosh, that's me. Where do I start?"
It starts with self-care and being present with yourself and having quiet time with yourself. And so there's so many tools that I teach, but just even simple things like breath work and breath work, when you can just breathe and feel. The more you can feel and feel those emotions, feel where the energy is blocked in your body, feel what's coming up to the surface to be healed. And this is what I teach in all my programs and workshops and in the academy, is
Mhm.
taking people through all these exercises, because we all have the ability to heal our own body, but it's just stop, be quiet, come back to yourself. Nature is perfect. Connecting with nature, and like I said, go and stand bare feet on the grass, connect with the trees, having that quiet time with yourself. There's a tree out in my backyard, and I'll just go and put my forehead on my third eye on the tree, and it's like, okay, what's the message you have for me
Mm.
today? Or I've got birds that visit me. It's like, what's your message? And I talk to the birds and I feed the birds, and
Mhm.
so it's connecting with nature. Come back to you know everything around you. We have so much beauty around us, and come back to just gratitude in your heart, because you can't be grateful and stressed at the same time. So
Yeah.
whatever is stressing you is like, well, that's draining my energy. So looking at what's draining your energy, what's out of alignment, what's not working in your life, what people are draining, what activities are you doing that you're not enjoying anymore. This could be, group activities or exercise, or it could be going to a job that you really don't like, so that's draining your energy,
Yep.
and that's stressing you. I mean, what keeps you awake at night? And looking at all those aspects of your life. Are you in a loving relationship where they love and honor and respect you? And the friends in your life, do they all love and honor and respect you? Or do you have people in your life who maybe judge you or criticize you, or the narcissistic behavior, or even abusive behavior?
Mhm.
So it's like really taking stock of all areas in your life, what's working, not working, and then doing the inner work.
Yeah.
So when I'm working with clients, we go back to at conception. We go back to the very beginning and clean up, any unconscious beliefs and stories and patterns and programs and old paradigms, and clean up all the trauma, and do a lot of inner child work. And then and plus we're doing a lot of energetic work, as well as
Mhm.
healing work, as well as bringing in all lot of different modalities and tools. They're all just tools.
They're all tools,
um
yeah.
so intuitively, in every session, I'm being guided by my masters, who saved me and who are with me constantly every single day, and they just protect me and keep me safe. And to have that faith and that trust, that's what I instill in others. To have the clarity, to have the purpose, to know who they are as a soul, why they're here, and to be able to answer the question, who am I?
Yeah.
And what is my purpose? Why am I here? What is my soul saying to me right now? What does my inner child want me to know right now? What does my inner child want to do right now? Maybe he or she wants to just go out and play and, go to a park and play on the swings and just be free. Freedom is one of my number one values. So just being free and feeling that freedom. No one's stuck. What keeps you stuck is all in the mind, those old stories that you keep telling yourself. So it's really having an honest conversation with yourself.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think that all of us know intuitively what it is that we need to feel free? Or do you think that, let me just start with that. Do you think that we know?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. When you are in alignment with your truth, with your higher self, and follow and listen and drop into your heart, listen to your soul, listen to your inner guidance, and listen to your truth. We got three brains, and the head brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain is like, come back into alignment and align up, because the mind can take you on some tangent, and that may, and if it's ego based, it may not end well. But if you trust yourself, trust your heart, trust your gut brain, and how does it feel? See, with humans, we all have a choice. We all have free will. And that's because we came here, we live on this dual reality of the light and the dark. And every single human has free will. We can choose to go down here, and that gives us one result, or we can choose to go down this road, and that will give us another result. But at that crossroads, we get to make those choices every single day. And the choices that we make will impact how our life looks. So depending on what you're feeling right now, and for those out listening to this and your audience, is you get to choose misery or MoJOY. It's like, feel into everything, every choice point that you come to. And that's what the energy at the moment is really amplified at right now. Everyone is really doing a lot of deep soul searching and looking at, wow, who am I? And a lot of the shadows and those blind spots and those unconscious parts that have been suppressed and being pushed down are all coming to the surface to be healed, to be transformed and transmuted into light. Because at the end of the day, that's all we are. We are all love and light.
And we've lost touch with
that
that.
is not love and light is not your truth. That's not your true essence of who you are. And so this is what I teach others. This is what I take my coaching clients through, and in my group programs, and everything that I do. It's like reminding them of who they truly are as a soul, and come back home to you.
Yeah. It's so wonderful to hear you say that. I think what you said too, like the collective, we are all addressing and looking at those sides of ourselves. And the healers, the lighthouses, the people who are out there doing this work are all talking about the same thing. It's about feeling into the feelings, letting them come up, letting them move out, and also about returning to the true essence of who we are. That's so
Yeah.
consistent. And so to me, that feels like it is part of the collective work that we're
It's
all doing right now.
That's right. And we are, it's like a web, all around the earth, and there are so many beautiful light workers and souls out there who are all coming together to help with this evolution of humanity, the consciousness evolution, and helping each other, helping all our brothers and sisters to go through this ascension process and come back to who they truly are.
Mm-hmm.
Though there is a percentage of souls that are choosing to not change, and it's not up to us to try and make them. They have free will. So this is where the split is happening. There's a lot of people that talk about, the 3D to the 5D, and but yeah, we can see this split. We can feel it. It's like, oh, okay, that's your opinion, and you stay over there. That's fine. And love and compassion to you, because eventually they will awaken one day. It might take a few more lifetimes, but that's not up to us to judge or beat them or berate them or judge them or criticize. It's
Mm-hmm.
like each individual has free will. It's like, oh, do I choose to shift and change in this lifetime? Or am I comfortable just staying where I am? And whatever your choice is, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because and I saw this vision when I was thinking about my BENN Method Academy and what does that look like? And I saw this bridge, going from here over to here, the 3D over to the
Mm-hmm.
5D. And it was like, wow, I choose for my BENN Method Academy and everyone who is in there that over the other side of this bridge is heaven on earth.
Mm.
And what we're all creating is heaven on earth. There is no conflict. There is no darkness. There is no wars. There is only love and joy and peace and happiness. And everything is beautiful. And we all love each other. We all help each other. We are all collaborating. We are all here on this playground having an amazing fun adventure, and we're all celebrating each other. There's no competition, there's no deceit or any of these old dark patterns and
Mm-hmm.
programs that we're seeing, or in the 3D world, and the fear and the fear mongering and the corruption and the deceit and the betrayal and all of that. That's all 3D stuff. But over here, it's just, oh my God, look at that beautiful flower, and you just look so beautiful today, and I'm just so grateful to be here. And everyone is just living in this place of gratitude and just the feeling just so much love and light in their heart. And I feel so emotional just sharing this, because that's my vision.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I am put this BENN Method Academy together, because this is my legacy I'm leaving. This is my last lifetime.
Mm. Wow. Now, how do you know that? Did you receive that information in your transformation when you were down, the splintered soul when you were on your way back? Or do you know consciously that you'll decide, I'm not going to come back again?
I know in my heart. See, I'm a very old soul. I go all the way back to Atlantis.
Mm,
So, and then through all my lifetimes, and this is what I learnt from Dale, my teacher 35 years ago, and the painting. He just put
mhm,
explained some of my past lives, what I was doing. But in every past life, I had different experiences, but a lot of those lives were teaching all my spiritual teachings. So this is ancient wisdom that I have been teaching over and over and over. But in all those past lives, I was killed and hung and called a witch and burnt at the stake and beheaded and so I didn't get to fulfill my mission. And then in this life, I chose the family that actually persecuted me in those lives. And this life, it's like, right, I will achieve my mission and fulfill my purpose. And once I've achieved that, I'm done.
mhm. It's powerful work. It's powerful work. So, how do people get to work with you? How do they get to experience your MoJOY? I know it's especially
Uh,
hard too
I
because you're in Australia. So, do you have virtual programs that people can join?
Yes.
Amazing.
Absolutely. Everything's virtual now. The
Okay.
academy's global. It's so they can access my website, lindabenn.com. On there, they can go to the BENN Method Academy, and there's an application form to fill out, and that's where we see if we're a good fit. Because my academy is like my sacred garden, because the people that come in, it's like everyone supports each other. So I'm very protective about who I invite into my garden, and and those that just want to come and take the flowers and and
Yeah.
stomp on, it's like, no, that's not a good fit. So that's why I'm personally interviewing each person to say, hey, is this for you, and is this the right time for you? And maybe we can do a different program, because I've got my 5 days. I've got a lot of different programs and different courses which are on my website. Plus, I do one-to-one coaching for those that like more private, intimate, VIP attention. And so that's a 90-day coaching program, because we go deep.
Hmm.
And when I'm working one-to-one with people, it's like I'm constantly tuning in on a daily basis. It's like we're in a relationship together. So it's not just the sessions that we have, it's the um, constant communication and the messages and the emails and the phone calls, and the whole
Yeah.
hand holding in between, and any little hiccups they feel, or any little like, whoa, this just happened. It's like on their lifeline, so they've got me in their back pocket. So that's the VIP coaching. And then my other programs, it's like the groups, and either, yeah, it's all online. And because I travel so much, uh, those the in person, I do very little now.
Mm.
It's yeah, it's very it's like the universe, and I don't even have my table set up anymore. So I
Okay.
don't actually see clients in person anymore because everything is done over Zoom now.
Mm-hmm.
So people can reach me from my website, plus all the social media. I'm in all the platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, X.
You name it, right?
Yeah. And but once you're on, if you sign up for my newsletter, I send out energy updates and tips and what you can do, and that's free. So jump on my mailing list and just get those tips so that you can work through your own process on wherever you are
Yeah.
in your personal growth right now. Because and also I have my podcast, which is Soulful Ascension, and I do weekly episodes on that, and that's available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. And then on LinkedIn, I've got my MoJOY Muse. So I'm putting out those articles and blogs regularly. And then all those articles are also on my website. So there's a lot on my website, lindabenn.com, and also people can send me a message from there, as well as reach out on social media.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, LindaJoy, for being here. I'm gonna have you back again so we can continue the talk and go even deeper. But I'm so grateful that you shared your story, because I'm sure that there are people out there listening who say, that's me, and they just need to hear that healing is possible and that they can do it themselves
Yes.
through seeing
Absolutely.
themselves spiritually and emotionally. Wonderful.
Uh,
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
my
so
friend.
much, Heather. Sending much love, many blessings to your whole audience. And thank you so much for listening and being here, and many blessings.
Many
Thank
blessings
you.
back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me today on Your Radiant Spirit. Every conversation here is an invitation to go beyond the surface, to listen to what your soul has been whispering, and to step into the life you've been longing for. If you're ready to go deeper, to work in a way that's personal, creative, and profoundly transformative, you'll find ways to connect with me in the show notes. Whether it's through art, a guided session, or a fully immersive journey, you'll discover a space where your truth is seen and your next chapter begins. If this episode spoke to you, it would mean the world if you shared it with a friend, left a review, or subscribed so more people can discover the conversations we have here. Until next time, my friend, keep noticing the colors, the moments, and the nudges. They're all leading you home. And for now, take a breath, hold on to what resonated, and carry it with you into the rest of your day. Thanks for listening.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Heather Eck hosts an amazing show called Your Radiant Spirit. Heather, tell listeners about the show.
What if the colors you're drawn to, the creative urges you ignore, and the quiet intuitive hits you brush off are actually trying to tell you something? Your Radiant Spirit is the podcast that helps you listen and live with greater clarity and purpose.
And where can people subscribe?
You can find and subscribe at heathereck.com/yourradiantspirit, on marketingpodcast.net, or search for it wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.